The first time it happened, it was just a fleeting glimpse. I was a kid and I remember it vividly. It was 3 a.m. and I was awoken in my bed by what I can only describe as an overwhelming feeling of dread. I was awoken again in the middle of the night to what I can only describe as an oppressive evil presence in my room. I tried my best to ignore it, to convince myself that everything was fine, but the longer I lay there, the more the feeling of dread intensified. And for the first time, they actually looked up into my parents' faces, inching closer and closer until finally they were out in the open, floating above the floor. At this point, my parents and I all knew that whatever was under my bed was real, and we were terrified. They were real, and whatever they were, they wanted to be seen. He blessed my room and banished whatever evil spirit was residing underneath my bed. And somehow, some way, whatever was under my bed was gone. Maybe it wasn't. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. My parents and I never spoke of that night, nor did I ever see or hear from whatever was under my bed again. My parents, of course, were horrified. But this time, when they got up to go look under the bed, they found nothing. My eyes, however, could still see the eyes, and they were getting closer. Then suddenly, right before my very eyes, those same two eyes that I had seen just days before materialized once again beneath my bed, staring back at me with their eerie glow. I screamed at the top of my lungs, obviously, and my parents came rushing into my room. They, of course, couldn't see what I was seeing, and they dismissed it as just another one of my crazy, vivid nightmares. They tucked me in and left, and I lay there for the rest of the night, convinced that whatever was under my bed was just waiting for the right moment to strike. I opened my eyes to see what I thought was a pair of glowing red eyes staring directly at me from underneath my bed. My parents, of course, had no idea. They didn't believe me when I told them what was happening, and I was beginning to think that I was going insane. I remember sitting there paralyzed with fear as these eyes just stared back at me. Then, just as quickly as they appeared, they vanished. I remember thinking to myself, what was that? But as the night wore on and the sun began to rise, I convinced myself that it was nothing but a figment of my imagination. The next night, though, is when things started to get really scary. This continued to happen every single night. The eyes would appear and stare at me, and every morning I would wake up more afraid than I had been the day before. Then one night, when my parents were lying in my bed trying to comfort me, the eyes appeared beneath the bed, glowing brightly. I don't remember exactly how long it took, but eventually, very slowly, those eyes began to emerge from underneath the bed. My parents immediately called the local priest, who came over that night and performed an exorcism of sorts. Maybe it was just a dream.